Okay, let's dive right into this explainer and unpack a massive buzzword that we literally hear everywhere today, the Internet of Things, or IoT. We hear it in corporate boardrooms, we see it in appliance stores, but what does it actually mean for us? Well, today we are completely stripping away the jargon to understand what IoT is, how it really works, and why it's fundamentally transforming our physical world. To really wrap our heads around the sheer gravity of this shift, consider this forecast. Experts actually predict there will be 50 billion connected devices by the year 2020. 50 billion. That is an astonishing figure. We aren't just talking about a couple of gadgets per household here. We're talking about a scale that vastly outnumbers the entire human population. It really represents a total, fundamental shift in how the physical objects around us exist and interact on a daily basis.
So with literally billions of connections rapidly coming online, we got to ask ourselves, what actually qualifies a device to be part of this dynamic global network? Like, if you take a regular wooden chair and bolt a digital clock to it, is it suddenly an IoT device? Well, no, not exactly. There is a very specific set of criteria that separates your standard, everyday physical object from a true node on the Internet of Things, and that is exactly what we're going to explore.
Moving to Section 1, Beyond the Smartphone. Let's clear up exactly what IoT actually means.
Right, so there's a huge misconception out there. When we say connected devices, we aren't just talking about your 4G smartphone or your networked laptop. Those things already have internet connectivity and unique identities. That's, standard. The real focus of IoT is taking objects that historically have been completely disconnected. Think of an irrigation pump out in a massive agricultural field, a thermostat on your living room wall, or even the sensory circuits buried deep inside an electric car engine, and giving them a real voice on the global network. It's all about configuring, controlling, and networking the unexpected.
Let's head into Section 2, Defining the Internet of Things, where we look at the core mechanics. Okay, so by definition, IoT is a dynamic global network infrastructure with self-configuring capabilities based on standard and interoperable communication protocols. Wow, that is a heavily academic mouthful, but don't worry, let's break it down. Basically, it means the network is constantly changing and adapting on its own. These devices speak a common language, which allows a sensor made by Company A to talk perfectly with the server built by Company B. Within this network, physical and virtual things are given unique identities and even virtual personalities, using intelligent interfaces to seamlessly communicate data about their users and their environment.
Which brings us to Section 3, the 5 traits of IoT.
To truly make sense of that dense definition, it really helps to dissect the anatomy of an IoT device. A true IoT device absolutely must possess 5 core characteristics to function in this ecosystem. They have to be dynamic and self-adapting, self-configuring so they can work together in huge numbers. They must use interoperable communication protocols. They absolutely require a unique identity, and they must be fully integrated into information networks to exchange data. Let's single out a couple of these to see how they actually play out in the real world.
Take the first trait, dynamic adaptation. An IoT device doesn't just sit there passively like a brick, it reacts to its context. Think about a smart surveillance camera. It senses the drop in light levels as the sun sets, and it autonomously switches its operating mode to infrared or night vision. It's literally taking action based on changing conditions in its environment, completely without a human operator ever having to flip a switch.
Then there's trait number 4, unique identity. Just like you have a unique ID or fingerprint, every single connected pump, thermostat, or Bluetooth headset gets its very own IP address or URI so it can be uniquely recognized. This is absolutely vital. When an automated system sends a command to shut off a water valve, it desperately needs to know it's speaking to one exact valve out of a million on the network. Intelligent interfaces allow these uniquely identified devices to communicate their precise context back to the broader environment.
Section 4, Turning Data into Knowledge. Because getting connected is really only half the battle.
So here's the data journey. Applications on the network take all this raw, messy data and push it through a very specific 5-step factory line to create something actually useful. Picture a temperature sensor. It's spitting out thousands of raw data points every single minute. That's way too much noise. The IoT network extracts value by first filtering that data, then processing it, categorizing it, condensing it down to a manageable size, and finally contextualizing it. A sudden temperature spike means nothing on its own, right? But contextualized with the knowledge that it's coming from an electric car engine operating in the middle of the desert, suddenly that becomes incredibly vital information.
Ultimately, the whole goal of this massive filtering process isn't just to hoard a bunch of data, it's to structure information to derive actual knowledge.
By deeply understanding the system, the habits of the users, and the surrounding environment, the IoT network can make smarter, automated decisions. It autonomously progresses toward operational objectives. It takes raw, meaningless numbers and turns them into actionable wisdom. It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
Section 5. The connected ecosystem. Let's zoom all the way out to the big picture.
When you step back and look at the sheer scope here, you realize IoT is a completely interconnected web. We're talking about wearables on our wrists constantly interfacing with transportation systems, heavy factory machinery, and massive smart city grids. It's an ecosystem where data from a city's morning traffic grid might automatically talk to the automation in a local factory to perfectly optimize delivery schedules. It functions as one cohesive, vast operating entity.
So, I'll leave you with this provocative thought to wrap up our explainer. As this self-configuring network grows exponentially, with billions of new identities joining all the time, how will it change the way we understand our environment? We've already seen how everyday objects are gaining unique identities, dynamically adapting, and turning raw data into profound knowledge. As these billions of devices constantly converse and learn, the true potential of the Internet of Things is really just beginning. Thanks so much for joining me, and keep questioning the incredible technology that surrounds you.